The council chamber was quiet, too quiet. Alien delegates floated in their seats, speaking in low tones, while the holographic stars of distant systems shimmered around them. Earth's representative, Commander Elena Rios, stood tall, her eyes scanning the room. Every alien gaze seemed to measure her, judging humanity, underestimating it. That was a mistake they had made for centuries, and Elena knew it. For decades, humans had followed the Council's rules, obeyed its decrees, and shared their discoveries only when allowed. The Council praised humans for courage and innovation, yet never truly respected them. Every vote, every decision, every law seemed to favor the older, larger alien races. And now, after years of hidden preparation, Earth was ready to leave. The motion was simple. Elena pressed a hand to the console in front of her, and a sharp chime echoed through the chamber. Earth formally withdraws from the Galactic Council, she said. Her voice was calm, but inside, a storm raged. Whispers erupted, alarmed shouts filled the room, and alien wings flared with tension. No one expected this. No one could have guessed. Outside, in orbit around Earth, the real story was hidden from the galaxy. Massive shipyards, carved into asteroids and deep underground, buzzed with activity. Engineers worked day and night, welding metals humans had only recently discovered, programming AI systems capable of predicting enemy moves, testing engines that could leap across star systems faster than council ships. The fleet was vast, 1,000 warships, each built to strike like a living storm. Some were small and agile, designed for scouting and ambush. Others were massive, bristling with weapons that could level an entire planet. Every ship carried the quiet confidence of a species that had learned to survive against impossible odds. Elena walked through the command deck of the flagship, Aurora, her fingers brushing over the control panels. She had seen the blueprints, the simulations, and she knew the fleet's full potential. Humanity had been underestimated, and that had been their greatest advantage. The Council thought humans were weak. They thought humans would bow, as always. They were about to learn the truth. In the council chamber, alien leaders debated furiously. Some demanded immediate retaliation, sending fleets to Earth. Others urged calm, believing it was just a political stunt. But the first warning had already begun. From the edges of council sensors, small energy pulses, signals humans had left intentionally, flashed and disappeared. They were messages, warnings of a power the galaxy had not yet seen. Meanwhile, on the surface of Earth, citizens went about their daily lives, unaware of the storm that was about to sweep across the stars. Children played in the parks, engineers tinkered in workshops, and people walked streets lit by neon lights that reflected in the oceans. It was ordinary. Yet beneath this ordinary life, humanity was preparing something extraordinary. Hidden cities, shielded by cloaking technology, housed the minds that had guided Earth's rise. They had learned from every battle, every conflict, every moment of neglect from the Council. They had turned frustration into strategy, fear into strength, and now they were ready to act. Elena returned to the bridge. The stars outside the viewport seemed distant and silent, but she knew they were watching. Alien fleets would not understand her next move. Human pilots, trained in ways the Council could not predict, took their positions in the ships. Each vessel pulsed with energy, engines humming with power and readiness. Communication lines were silent. No one would hear from Earth until it was too late. Back in the Council, the oldest of the delegates, a being with scales like molten metal, leaned forward. "You cannot leave. Humanity is not ready," it hissed. Its voice shook with arrogance. Elena met its gaze without fear. "We are always ready," she said, her tone even. "And we have been ready for a long time. You will see soon enough." A sudden alarm rang through the council chamber. Sensors had detected a formation at the edge of the system. It was small at first, just blips on the radar, almost invisible. But the council knew immediately that it was unusual, unnatural. The blips moved with precision, and every motion suggested intelligence far beyond any human fleet they had faced. They watched as the formation grew, engines igniting, lights blazing across the darkness of space. The council had always seen humans as weak, slow, and predictable. This formation proved otherwise. On the Aurora, Elena activated the final sequence. The fleet had remained hidden for decades, and now the time had come. Ships detached from their stations, moving in perfect synchrony. Each captain, each pilot, understood the mission without words. The silence of space carried the weight of centuries of planning and preparation. Humans were no longer waiting for permission, no longer seeking approval. They had left the council, and they were about to show the galaxy the full force of their resolve. Elena looked out at the stars, her heart steady. "Prepare to engage," she said. Her voice carried over the fleet, reaching every ship, every crew member. There was no fear, only focus. Humanity had waited for this moment. They had been patient, strategic, and meticulous. Now, they would take their place among the stars not as subjects or allies, but as equals, feared and respected by all who had doubted them. And somewhere, far across the galaxy, the council realized too late that the humans they had mocked, ignored, and dismissed were no longer the same. Earth had returned, and it had brought a storm the universe would never forget. The hidden shipyards of Earth gleamed like black diamonds in the void. Each vessel was a masterpiece of engineering, a combination of human ingenuity and relentless ambition. From tiny scout ships no larger than a shuttle to massive warships bristling with weapons, every design reflected centuries of preparation and secrecy. Engineers moved through corridors lined with glowing consoles, checking systems, running simulations, and making final adjustments. The air hummed with energy, and the faint scent of ozone mixed with metal. Commander Elena Rios walked among the ships, her steps echoing against the steel floors. She stopped before the largest vessel, the Aurora, and placed a hand on its hull. The ship pulsed beneath her fingers as if alive. "Soon," she whispered. "Soon, they will see what humans can do." Around her, pilots ran through their drills, engines warming, weapon systems powering up. Every individual understood the mission. The galaxy had doubted humanity for too long, and now it was time to prove them wrong. Deep within the council chambers, alien sensors were failing to track the full scale of what was happening. Initial readings showed minor energy spikes, but nothing alarming. Yet, hidden cloaking systems masked the fleet's true size. Earth's ships had been designed to avoid detection until the exact moment they were ready to strike. Council analysts debated, arguing that humans could not possibly field more than a few dozen ships. They were wrong. They had always been wrong. On a command bridge aboard one of the massive warships, Lieutenant Marco Chen reviewed the targeting systems. The human AI predicted alien fleet movements with near-perfect accuracy. Every possible scenario, every evasive tactic the Council might attempt, had been accounted for. "All ships report ready," Marco said, his voice steady. "We wait for the signal." Elena nodded. The signal would come from her, but for now, patience was the greatest weapon. In the Council, panic began to spread. Strange energy readings continued to appear near Earth's outer systems. Delegates called for immediate scans, fleets were scrambled, but the readings vanished as quickly as they appeared. Some suspected a malfunction. Others whispered theories too frightening to speak aloud. The oldest delegate, molten-scaled and sharp-eyed, hissed to the others, "This is no ordinary fleet. Humans have prepared something unimaginable." Back on Earth, the fleet's readiness was absolute. Hidden channels of communication linked every ship, and the pilots could respond instantly to any command. Humans had trained for decades to act as one. Coordination, precision, and adaptability were built into their very culture. Every movement of the fleet reflected this discipline, and yet, each captain also had the freedom to act in the moment, making the humans unpredictable and deadly. Elena stood in the center of the command deck of the Aurora, looking at the screens displaying the hidden warships. The stars outside seemed calm, silent, and endless. Yet beneath that calm, a storm was waiting. "We have waited long enough," she said softly. "It is time for the galaxy to understand what we are." Her eyes hardened. Not as conquerors, not as victims, but as humans who will no longer be ignored. In orbit above Earth, small patrol ships moved outward, carefully mapping nearby space. The aliens monitoring the system saw only a fraction of what was truly there. They underestimated human engineering again. They assumed the humans were primitive, slow, and incapable of such coordination. But the humans had learned from every battle, every loss, every failure. Humanity had grown in ways the Council could not imagine. As the first wave of ships detached from the hidden bays, engines glowing, the Council sensors finally detected movement. The readings were incomplete, confusing, and terrifying. The formation grew as more ships joined, revealing outlines of shapes too large, too fast, too precise to be ordinary. Panic spread like fire through the chambers. "This cannot be," one delegate shouted. "They were only humans." Others whispered in fear. "We misjudged them." On the Aurora, Elena's voice cut through the fleet's communication network. "Position your ships. Maintain formation. Wait for my command." The humans obeyed without hesitation. The hidden warships, previously invisible and unthreatening, now moved like a silent army across the stars. Their engines left trails of light, shimmering and beautiful, a deadly ballet in the void. Every movement was designed to strike fear, to show the galaxy that Earth had been underestimated for far too long. The Council could no longer ignore them. Human strategy was not just in the ships, it was in their minds, their unity, their courage. Every alien race that had mocked humans in the past now felt a rising panic. Earth's hidden arsenal was no longer a secret. It was a statement, a warning, a promise. And as the fleet continued to align, preparing for the inevitable confrontation, one thought burned in Elena's mind. The Council had ignored humanity for centuries, but the storm they had hidden, the fleet they had built, was about to remind the galaxy that humans were never to be underestimated again. The void was quiet, but the silence was heavy, like the calm before a storm. Human ships glided in perfect formation, their engines humming with barely contained energy. From the hidden outer systems, the Council's fleet finally appeared. Hundreds of ships, massive and imposing, designed to dominate any enemy. Their commanders were confident. They had faced threats before, but nothing like this. Humans were supposed to be weak, predictable, and scattered. That assumption would soon shatter. Commander Elena Rios observed the approaching fleet from the bridge of the Aurora. Her hands rested lightly on the console, eyes scanning every blip, every movement. "Stay calm," she said. "They expect us to panic. They expect hesitation. They will get neither." Around her, pilots checked systems, weapons powered to full capacity. Each ship mirrored the other, moving as one, ready for whatever the Council would throw at them. The first Council ships came into range, and their sensors finally read the size of Earth's fleet. The readings shocked them. Thousands of ships? Impossible. They recalibrated, thinking it was an error. But the holographic displays confirmed the truth. Earth had built a fleet unlike any seen before. The Council's confidence wavered, replaced by doubt and unease. On the bridge of one of the Council's largest cruisers, Admiral Velcari frowned. How did humans build this many ships without detection? His voice trembled with anger and fear. Around him, younger officers whispered, panic spreading through the command chain. The humans moved fast, precise, and united. Their formation was flawless, their speed unmatched. Every moment delayed was a moment lost to Earth's advantage. Elena raised her hand, signaling the fleet to hold position. She wanted the first move to be theirs, not the Council's. From hidden pods, scout ships darted forward, weaving between the Council vessels, testing their reactions. Each maneuver was perfect, revealing gaps, weaknesses, and predictable patterns. The humans were learning without the enemy realizing it. Then the message came through. Council sensors detected a transmission: humans are not your subjects. Withdraw, or face consequences. Elena had anticipated their arrogance, their belief that a warning would cause humans to hesitate. But she knew the Council underestimated the most dangerous trait of humanity: patience and strategy. The Council debated, confused and angry. Some wanted immediate attack, Others whispered of negotiation. "Do not underestimate them," one veteran officer warned, but it was too late. The humans had already positioned themselves for maximum advantage. Suddenly, the Council launched their first wave. Massive energy beams cut through the void, aimed to destroy the forward human ships. But the humans anticipated it. With a silent pulse, shields flared, engines pivoted, and the Council's attack missed almost entirely. Small scout ships darted between their lines, disrupting communications, targeting weak points. Every strike seemed choreographed, precise, and devastatingly effective. Elena's voice rang over the fleet: engage in controlled strike patterns. Avoid full confrontation. Keep them off balance. Humans obeyed instantly, each ship moving like an extension of her mind. Council commanders could only watch in disbelief. Their overwhelming numbers were meaningless against the strategy and speed of Earth's fleet. In the chaos, one Council cruiser tried to flank the humans, moving to strike the rear. A squadron of human ships intercepted, launching missiles that disabled engines without destroying the vessel. The Council ship spun helplessly, unable to regain control. Panic spread across the enemy fleet. Humans were not just surviving, they were dictating the battle. From the Aurora, Elena watched calmly. She knew this was just the beginning. The Council had more ships, more weapons, but the humans had something more: unity, intelligence, and the will to prove they were not to be ignored. Every move was precise, calculated to show strength without unnecessary destruction. Earth had returned not for revenge, but to demand respect. The Council fleet faltered, reorganizing in confusion. Messages between alien commanders were frantic, orders overlapping, and hesitation visible in every maneuver. Humans took advantage, maintaining pressure without overextending. Every ship in the Earth fleet knew its role, every pilot trusted the other, every weapon was ready. Elena's eyes softened for a moment as she looked at the stars beyond. The void seemed endless, yet humanity had made it theirs. "Let them see," she whispered. "Let them understand that humans are no longer the same. That Earth has returned." The first contact had ended, but the battle was far from over. The Council would recover, regroup, and strike again. Yet in this moment, one undeniable truth became clear to all who witnessed it. Humans were not weak, humans were not slow, and humans were not to be underestimated. And as Earth's fleet held its formation, ready for whatever came next, the galaxy felt a shiver of something new: respect, fear, and the undeniable realization that a storm had arrived, one that would change everything. The Council chamber was in chaos. Screens flashed with warnings, alarms blared, and alien delegates shouted over each other. Their fleets, once confident and powerful, were faltering against humans who moved like shadows in the void. Every order seemed too slow, every maneuver too predictable. Humans had anticipated it all. Admiral Velcari slammed a clawed hand on the console. "They are too organized. They are too fast. How can a species so small outmatch us?" His scales rattled with frustration. Around him, younger officers tried to maintain order, but confusion spread like wildfire. Some urged retreat, others demanded immediate reinforcements. Still, the humans pressed forward, calm, precise, and deadly. On the Aurora, Commander Elena Rios studied the holographic map of the Council fleet. She smiled faintly. "They are panicking," she said. "Good. Let them. Confusion is our ally." Her fleet maintained a perfect formation, adjusting positions with silent signals, engines flaring only when necessary. Human ships darted in and out of sensor range, testing the enemy's reactions and exploiting their weaknesses. In orbit around a Council world, scouts reported unusual human movements. Ships that had been hidden suddenly appeared, striking at the edge of their formations, then vanishing again. The Council realized too late that humans had not come to fight blindly. They had studied, prepared, and perfected every step of this confrontation. Every strike was measured, every move intentional. Meanwhile, deep within the Council chambers, a heated debate raged. "We underestimated them for too long," a young delegate admitted, voice trembling. "They are not like other species. They think, they plan, and they adapt. Older members scoffed at first, but the evidence was undeniable. The humans' tactics were unconventional, unexpected, and terrifyingly effective. Elena watched the Council's confusion unfold through the fleet's sensors. She had anticipated their reactions, predicted their panic, and prepared for it. Her fleet moved as one, maintaining pressure without overextending. Small teams of agile ships disrupted communication lines, while larger vessels stayed hidden, ready to strike at critical moments. The humans had mastered the art of appearing weaker than they were, then revealing their strength at the perfect time. On a distant warship, Lieutenant Marco Chen monitored a council cruiser that had been cornered by human scouts. "They're trying to regroup," he said. "But their formations are fractured. We can exploit this." Elena nodded. "Do it. But avoid unnecessary destruction. Show them precision, not recklessness." Humans were not here to destroy for revenge, they were here to demand respect. Back on the Council's command bridge, panic reached a new level. Fleet leaders tried to reorganize, but every maneuver was countered. The humans anticipated their every move, adapting faster than any AI the Council had deployed. Ships that had been thought invincible were now vulnerable, disabled without a single life lost on Earth's side. Alien commanders could not comprehend the human strategy. It was too fluid, too fast, too clever. Elena turned to her officers. "They are confused, angry, and fearful." "Perfect. Keep them guessing. Show them the cost of underestimating humanity." The fleet responded instantly, adjusting positions, coordinating strikes, and maintaining flawless communication. Every human pilot trusted each other completely, moving like extensions of a single mind. In the council chamber, whispers spread among delegates. "Humans. They are different. They are not what we thought." Fear replaced arrogance, and for the first time in centuries, the council questioned everything they believed about Earth. The humans who had been dismissed, laughed at, and ignored were now forcing the galaxy to pay attention. Meanwhile, in the silent reaches of space, hidden human ships continued to arrive, joining the formation, increasing the fleet's strength. The Council realized they had miscalculated. They had assumed Earth's fleet was limited, small, and slow. But humans had not revealed everything. Their true power remained hidden, a storm waiting to break over the unsuspecting galaxy. Elena's voice cut through the calm of the aurora. "Maintain pressure. Observe. Wait for the right moment." The humans were patient, strategic, and unstoppable. They would not strike recklessly, they would strike with purpose. And when the time came, the Council would understand the cost of underestimating a species that had learned, adapted, and grown stronger in the shadows. The Council fleets faltered again. Confusion spread like a disease through their ranks. Some ships turned back in retreat, others hesitated, unsure of their next move. Humans continued to advance, calm and unstoppable, showing that strategy, unity, and intelligence could overcome even the most powerful of foes. And in that quiet, tense moment, one truth became clear. Earth had returned not as a weak planet begging for recognition, but as a force to be reckoned with. The galaxy would never forget the lesson humanity was about to teach. The Council fleets had begun to stabilize, but the sense of dread lingered like a shadow over every command bridge. They had fought humans before in simulations and minor skirmishes, but nothing prepared them for the reality of Earth's fleet. Every human move was calculated, precise, and faster than their sensors could track. Commander Elena Rios stood on the bridge of the Aurora, her eyes fixed on the Council's largest ships. "They are recovering," she said. "But they still do not understand what they face." Around her, officers nodded. They had waited for this moment for decades, prepared in secret for every contingency. The human's secret weapon, the culmination of years of hidden research, was ready to be revealed. Deep within the fleet, massive warships housed new technology the Council could not even imagine. Humans had developed a device capable of neutralizing entire fleets without destroying planets. It was not a weapon of indiscriminate destruction. It was precise, efficient, and terrifyingly effective. Only the humans knew how to operate it safely, and now the moment had come. Elena gave the command. Activate the suppression array. Target their forward fleet. From hidden sections of the largest ships, beams of pale energy flared, spreading across space like invisible threads. The Council ships shuddered as systems failed one by one. Engines stalled, shields flickered, and communications were disrupted. Panic erupted across their ranks. Humans were not just attacking, they were disabling, controlling the battlefield without firing a single missile. On the Council command bridge, Admiral Velkari stared at the displays in disbelief. Impossible! How can one species do this? He banged his clawed hand on the console. Divert all power. Countermeasures. Nothing works. Around him, officers scrambled, but every attempt was futile. Human ships moved freely, while Council vessels struggled to regain control. Meanwhile, on the Aurora, Elena watched calmly. She knew the Council's panic was growing. Their arrogance had been their weakness. Their assumption that humans could be controlled or intimidated had led to this moment. Observe carefully, she said to her officers. This is how strategy wins over strength. This is how we take our place among the stars. The energy beams spread further, and entire segments of the Council fleet slowed, immobilized but unharmed. Humans had chosen restraint, showing power without unnecessary destruction. Every ship that stopped moving sent a clear message. Earth was no longer the weak planet the galaxy had ignored for centuries. They were capable, organized, and patient, but above all, they would no longer be underestimated. In the Council chamber, fear was palpable. Delegates whispered nervously to each other. We thought humans were primitive, one said. We thought we could control them. We were wrong. Another added, they have grown in ways we cannot even comprehend. Their technology, their strategy, it is beyond anything we have seen. Elena turned to Lieutenant Marco Chen. Prepare the secondary array. Extend coverage to the outer fleet. Marco nodded, initiating the command. Across the galaxy, Council ships began to falter further. Every ship that tried to maneuver, every captain who attempted to issue commands, found themselves slowed, disrupted, unable to respond as humans intended. The battlefield was now fully under Earth's control. Yet even as humans revealed their secret weapon, they maintained discipline. No ship fired recklessly. No planet was harmed. Every action served a purpose, to demonstrate strength, precision, and intelligence. The Council realized, too late, that humans did not need to destroy to dominate. Their power lay in their strategy, their coordination, and their ingenuity. Elena's voice was calm but firm. This is only the beginning. We do not seek conquest, but we demand respect. Let them remember today. The fleet advanced further, maintaining perfect formation, ready to respond to any move the Council made. The humans had turned the tide without bloodshed, showing that even the most powerful fleets could be rendered helpless by intelligence, preparation, and courage. And in that moment, one undeniable truth became clear to all who witnessed it. Earth was no longer a silent observer in the galaxy. Humans had returned, stronger, smarter, and united. The Council would never again treat them as weak. The storm had arrived, and it was only growing. The void trembled with the arrival of Earth's full fleet. 1,000 blazing warships, each a testament to human ingenuity and perseverance, moved as one across the stars. Their engines flared, casting pale trails of light across the dark expanse, while Council ships tried desperately to regroup. Chaos reigned among the alien forces, but humanity was calm, precise, and unyielding. Commander Elena Rios stood on the bridge of the Aurora, her eyes scanning the holographic map of the battlefield. Engage in full formation, she ordered. We strike strategically. Avoid reckless attacks. Show them our strength and intelligence. Her voice carried through the fleet's network, and each captain responded instantly. Humanity was united, coordinated, and faster than any alien fleet could anticipate. The Council had underestimated humans for centuries, and now that mistake was catastrophic. Some alien fleets attempted bold maneuvers, hoping to flank or surround Earth's forces. But human AI anticipated every move, every evasive tactic. Ships pivoted, dodged, and struck with precision, disabling engines, shields, and weapon systems without killing lives unnecessarily. Panic spread like wildfire across the Council command bridges. Admiral Velcari roared in frustration. They are too organized. Too clever. Every move we make is countered. Around him, officers scrambled, issuing conflicting commands. Betrayal began to ripple through the ranks. Some alien captains, seeing the humans' overwhelming coordination, secretly withheld full effort, hoping to preserve their own fleets. The first cracks in the Council's unity appeared, and Elena's fleet exploited them immediately. In the center of the battle, human warships formed a protective circle around the Aurora. Scouts darted outward, striking weak points, drawing fire, and returning without loss. Massive carriers unleashed drones that disabled enemy systems with precision energy pulses. Every human ship, every pilot, acted as part of a single organism, thoughtful, relentless, and unstoppable. Elena observed the Council fleets faltering. They were large, powerful, and armed with advanced weapons. But humans had something more: strategy, patience, and the ability to adapt faster than any machine. Prepare the secondary wave, she ordered. Target their reinforcements. Keep them off balance. Explosions of light erupted across space as carefully aimed strikes disabled entire wings of enemy ships. The Council fleet could only watch, horrified, as their forces became fragmented and ineffective. Even in the chaos, humans avoided unnecessary destruction. Entire alien ships were immobilized without lives lost. Elena wanted to demonstrate a simple message: Earth had returned not for revenge, not for conquest, but to demand respect. Every move sent a clear signal to the galaxy: humans were now a force to be reckoned with. In the heart of the Council command, panic was absolute. Delegates shouted, officers argued, and confusion spread faster than any human attack. Some ships attempted desperate attacks, targeting vulnerable points in the human formation, but the humans' unity and intelligence rendered these efforts useless. The more the Council struggled, the more they revealed their weaknesses. Elena's voice cut through the chaos calmly. Maintain formation. Exploit every error. Show them our strength, but remain precise. We do not destroy blindly, we dominate intelligently. Across the fleet, every captain and pilot followed her instructions flawlessly. Humanity was no longer fighting for survival. They were defining their place in the galaxy. Then, at the edge of the battlefield, hidden human ships deployed additional energy arrays, further disabling the remaining Council vessels. Their engines sputtered, weapons failed, and communications went silent. The Council fleet, once proud and confident, was now fractured, vulnerable, and confused. The humans had turned the tide without fully unleashing all of their power. Elena allowed herself a small smile. Hold your positions, she commanded. The galaxy will remember today. Let them feel the cost of underestimating humans. Her fleet remained poised, calm, and ready. They had proven their strength, shown their intelligence, and demonstrated that Earth's return was unstoppable. The battle was far from over, but one thing was clear to everyone watching: humanity had arrived. Humans were no longer weak, no longer underestimated, and no longer ignored. The galaxy was changing, and Earth stood at the center of that storm, ready to define the future. The Council fleets were scattered, disabled, and in retreat. For the first time in centuries, alien leaders realized that humans were not a species to be controlled or dismissed. The storms of battle had passed, leaving silence across the void, but the message was clear: Earth had returned, stronger and wiser than ever. Commander Elena Rios stood on the bridge of the Aurora, watching the remaining Council ships withdraw. Her expression was calm, but inside, a sense of relief mixed with pride. Humanity had proven itself not through reckless destruction, but through intelligence, strategy, and unity. The fleet remained in perfect formation, engines glowing softly in the darkness of space, ready for any challenge. In the Council chamber, delegates struggled to comprehend what had happened. Some were humbled, some angry, and some fearful. They had assumed humans were weak, slow, and predictable. They had been wrong. The lesson was painful, and it would not be forgotten. Across the galaxy, other races whispered of Earth's fleet, of the humans who had turned the tide of battle without obliterating worlds, and of the intelligence and courage that had outmatched centuries of experience. On Earth, the population continued their lives, largely unaware of the full scale of what had occurred. Yet, for those who had worked in secret, for the engineers, pilots, and strategists who had spent decades preparing, there was a quiet satisfaction. Humanity had emerged not only victorious but respected. They had proven that intelligence, patience, and courage could overcome raw power. Elena addressed her officers. "We have not destroyed them," she said. "We have shown them our strength and our resolve. The galaxy will remember this day, not for the fear we caused, but for the respect we demand." Her words carried weight. Every captain, every pilot, understood that this victory was more than a battle. It was a declaration: humanity would no longer be underestimated, ignored, or silenced. In the distant reaches of the galaxy, news of the battle spread quickly. Alien races who had once doubted humans began to reconsider their assumptions. Alliances shifted, strategies changed, and a new respect for Earth began to take hold. The humans who had been mocked as weak, as naive, were now recognized as powerful, intelligent, and capable of shaping the future of the galaxy. Elena gazed out at the stars. The void was calm again, but humanity had changed. They had grown, adapted, and risen to meet challenges that no one thought they could face. The galaxy had been reminded that humans were not just survivors, they were thinkers, planners, and warriors who could command the respect of all who dwelled among the stars. As the fleet returned to hidden systems and orbiting stations, preparations began quietly for the future. Humans knew that the Council and other races would recover, would learn from their mistakes, and might challenge Earth again. But now, humanity was ready. They had patience, strategy, and the power to act when necessary. They had learned, and they had proven themselves. And so, the storm of humanity's return settled into a new order. The galaxy had seen the full force of Earth's fleet, the intelligence of its commanders, and the courage of its people. The lesson was clear: humans were no longer the underestimated species of the past. They were here, united, strong, and prepared for whatever challenges the stars might bring. Commander Elena Rios allowed herself a small, satisfied smile. The battle had ended, but the story of humanity's rise among the stars was only beginning. The galaxy had learned its place in this new order. And Earth, once quiet and overlooked, had returned to claim its destiny. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, and humanity would navigate them as equals, respected, feared, and ready for whatever came next.